sometimes it's a good idea to know what the goal is. The goal is to be able to do this by yourself, okay? So I'm going to give you a little bit of help. Yes, you're going to have to check. I'm going to give you a little bit of help. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Write an A beside A. Write an F beside B. Write a 1 beside the 2. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at the problem set, page 1. The first question says, 156 divided by 24 and 102 divided by 15 both have a quotient of 6 and a remainder of 12. Are the expressions equivalent to each other? Use your knowledge of decimal division to justify your answer. Now, Caitlin, this is what you missed yesterday, but we're going to get you caught up right now. So what we're going to do is put these two problems on the back of our paper. However, I want the 4 columns on your paper. So, actually, boys and girls, it's only going to have to be 3 because we won't check these with multiplication. So just 3 columns on the back of your paper. And then in the middle, you're going to write 156 divided by 24 and 102 divided by 15. Leave a little space between. So this is going to be your estimate, your solve, and guess and check. I'm going to say this again. If you do not do these 3 things, I will not help you when you come to me. We have a deal?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to start by, I know you're going to need 2 lines for estimating. So I'm going to go ahead and get those put on there. I'm going to start by deciding what to round my, no. First thing I have to do is decide where my box goes. 156. So you can put it there if you want. Just so you'll know to write your answer above the 6. It's up to you. You don't have to put the box on this one, do you? No. Okay. So now that I've got that much done, the kind people on the front of the paper already told me what I need to write in my guess and check. What did they tell me? They told me my quotient. What was it? 6. Okay. So, Isaac said, go ahead and make that 24 a 25. That's not a bad idea to go ahead and do that, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and skip count by 25s. But I'm going to have to go a little farther than 100, aren't I?
Yeah.
To like 150? Okay.
Yeah, about.
Okay, you're going to stop at 200. Okay.
Just to be safe.
So we're going to try the 6, correct? So that would be 150. So over here in the guess and check, 24 times 6. Everybody write it down. I've got kids that are skipping this, and then they don't know what they're doing wrong. Okay, does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. And we already know where to put the 6, don't we?
Yep.
And I think they told us we're going to have a remainder of 12.
Yep.
Now, we're not going to write that remainder, okay? Because we've got to prove using decimal division that these two are not equal. So we'll keep going, won't we?
Yeah.
Somebody tell Caitlin what we're going to do. You're kind of close. Before I put a 0 on, what do I need? Yep, I'm going to add my decimal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more important than the 0. And if I put a 0 in the tens place, does that change the value of my number?
No.
Not at all. So now I've got to figure out which one is closest to 120 without going over.
100.
I just don't know if 100's big enough. Let's try it.
I mean, it would be off.
So what are we going to write in the guess and check now? 24 times 5. Okay, everybody do the math.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, it works.
We have repeated vote remainder.
Okay, so this actual answer, exact answer, is not 6 remainder 12. It's 6 and a half. 6.5, 6 and 5/10. Okay, let's see what the next answer is. All right, so that's nice, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we know this is a 6. So I guess, I'm going to go ahead and skip count by 15s. I think I can stop there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You stopped right there? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the first one I'm going to choose is the 90 because we know this is a 6. So in the guess and check, if you want to write it, you don't have to, but you can do 15 times 6 to make sure you skip count it correctly.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll put the 90 here, and I bet I'm going to get 12 for my remainder because that's what they told us we would get.
What if we said no?
Yeah.
Okay, so are we going to use the same strategy here that we did before?
Yeah.
We are. So instead of just saying I'm going to add a 0, what am I going to say instead of that? I'm going to add a decimal, which the decimal's already there, so is the 0. We just don't write it. And then I'm going to bring this down. So what number's closest to 120?
120.
So what am I going to write in the guess and check?
15 times 8.
Which we already know because we can skip count. So now we know that the first problem is exactly 6 and 5/10. The second problem is 6 and 8/10. So which one is larger? I'm just curious. 6 and 8/10. So I want you to go back to the first problem, and we're going to write a sentence, okay? And it says, are the division expressions equivalent to each other? No. They are not equivalent. Because, and then you're going to help me answer that.
Because.
Just wait a minute. Let everybody get caught up here. Talk about it with your table group. Table 1, what did you talk about?
Well, we think they're not equivalent because not really any division problem can be the same quotient, and 6/8 is larger than 6.
Okay, so you're saying 6 and 8/10 is larger than 6 and 5/10, and we know they're not equivalent, but here's what I'm going to say. I want you to use decimal division in your answer. They are not equivalent because only decimal division produces what do you think comes next?
Exactly.
You got it. She just read my mind. Exact answers. Only decimal division will produce exact answers. And by produce, I mean give you exact answers. If you're a scientist or someone who works in the medical field and you are filling up someone's little syringe to give them a shot with 6 remainder 12,
No.
you might kill them. Just kidding. But you can't do that kind of math in certain places and certain jobs, okay? So that's what I want you to understand out of today's lesson. Lesson 26. To get an exact answer, you have to use decimal division.
Because it produces the exact.
That's right. So now, I wonder which 2 questions we're going to do together today.
Those two.
What? Now someone besides Mrs. Lowry, tell me.
The
What did we write on your exit ticket?
A and
A and F. So we're going to do A and we're going to do F. Okay? We'll start with A. You realize these papers are not made for children who are using 4 columns to do long division, are they?
No.
So the other problems, B, C, D, and E, you'll have to do on scratch paper. But for now, we can do our 4 columns here, can't we?
Yeah.
Except I think I'm going to move mine over just a little bit. I don't need that much room for guess and check, do I?
Miss Lewis,
Yes?
Speaking of the exact decimal, in science we were learning about AU units, astronomical units,
Okay.
and it's measured in the distance from the sun to the Earth, which is 93 million miles. So we took whatever the distance of the other planet.
First thing I want you to do is write your problem for A. And we're going to put the decimal directly above because we're dividing by a whole number today. Okay? All right. So the next step is decide where my box goes.
36.
Okay, so here's what that means. Eyes up here, don't write this. I'm going to put a digit at the edge of the box, so above the 6. And I'll put a digit here and a digit here. Okay? So how many times will I have to estimate? 3. Okay. Have no idea where I'm going to skip count. I guess down below maybe.
On the very,
Good,
very
round it to
other
15.
Okay, so the next step, I'm trying not to rush everyone, but the next step is to round my divisor. I don't think we're going to round it, do you? No, let's just change it to 15. So what will I skip count by?
15s.
We just did this, didn't we? Okay, now I walked around during block 1 when they were working with a partner, and I'm going to tell you what they decided they didn't think they needed to do. They didn't think they needed to do these estimation lines, and they didn't think they needed to guess and check. They just thought, I'm going to skip count by 13s, I'm going to save myself some time, and I'm going to do this the way I want. And I'm going to tell you what mistake I saw. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. We know this is going to be a 30 and we're going to try a 2. Here's what they did. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You cannot skip the guess and check.
You must always do that.
Even if you skip count by the divisor exactly, you might mess up when you skip count. So it's a good idea to do what the teacher says.
Yes.
You agree?
Yes.
Thank you, block 2. Is 26 going to work?
Yes.
Okay. And when I subtract, I get 10. Is 10 less than 13?
Yes.
So I can bring down my 1. Sit still. So over here, which number is closest to 101, Jaden?
105.
He wants to try 105. I do too. Because we rounded it up a little bit. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to try a 7. So in the guess and check, Lillian, what will I write? Very good. Does it work?
Yeah.
Okay. 7 goes directly above what number?
The 1.
The 1.
Directly bring down the.
Well, I know the 7's not big enough because it only equals 91. So should we go up 1?
Yeah.
Try an 8? Okay. So 13 times 8. You're spoiling the suspense for the rest of us here.
Oh,
Wow.
oh, wow.
Okay. So I'm done with that. Now I just have to check using multiplication. So grab your highlighters, please. Ooh, that is way too dark. Get a lighter one. Okay, and there's a couple ways you could do this. If you want to put the decimal in the problem, you know I'm perfectly fine with that. Or we could write hundredths beside it. Okay? If you would rather not put the decimal, then go ahead and write hundredths beside it.
It's perfect math when you're doing it, but
Okay, let's take a look at F. Now on F,
Okay, I finally added right.
we're going to do the same thing. Get your 4 columns on there. And make sure you copy down F and not E. I was getting confused in the last block. All right. So on this one, Yasmin, where should I put my box? Yeah, so we're just going to look at it as 249 tenths, okay? We're going to think it's 249. So what should I round my divisor to? 50. Now look at this, okay? Eyes up here. This is very important because there were a lot of kids that messed this up. So stop. Don't mess it up. Where am I going to write my first digit? Above the 9. Where will I write my second digit?
on top of the 6.
Okay, so I only need 2 of these for estimating. I had several kids try and write the first digit above the 4, but that wouldn't be okay, would it? We always go to the edge of the box.
Well, I mean, technically you put a 0 over the 4.
Yes, you could. Okay, so I'm going to round this to what?
50.
50. Look at that. I'm going to stop at 300 again. We might have to go higher later, but that's good enough for now, isn't it?
It's gonna stop at the max.
Okay, so do you want to try 250?
Yes.
You sure? Because we rounded it down.
No, wait,
No.
200.
Yeah.
Do 200 just to be safe.
So 20 divided by 5. 4. So in the guess and check, Jaylee, what will I write? 52 times 4.
Oh, it'll always go like that.
Think that will work? Okay. Yeah. So is 41 less than 52?
Yes.
Okay, bring down your 6. Looks like I need a skip count higher.
To 150?
I already skipped counted it at 500.
Oh, good.
Same.
So I think I want to try a 400, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so 40 divided by 5 is, okay, so over here I'm going to do 52 times 8. Well, that was nice.
Oh wait,
Now I've written it twice.
I
So 48, now if I'm going to write this answer, look up here. If I'm going to write the answer, I would write it 48 hundredths like that, okay? But when I'm going to check using multiplication, I'm not putting that 0 there. I'm going to do 52 and 48 hundredths, yep. And is this turtle head? Yes, it is. So go ahead and multiply that out. Okay, so just a minute. I want to wait till everybody gets theirs done, and then we'll turn to the exit ticket and talk about it for a minute. There's not going to be time for partner work. I'm sorry. If you finish your exit ticket, because I had 3 kids who didn't. If you finish your exit ticket, you can get on IXL and do D16. It's this exact same thing without decimals. Okay? All right.